CIS27, I wanted to go over our homework assignment that we have to do this week, which is on business impact analysis. And in this assignment, you're required to use the template and you need to select a business of your choice. Could be small or large, could be an enterprise, chain, whichever you want. And I want you to practice filling out the business impact analysis. And so if you know a business really well, if you work for one, or if you own one, or if you know of one, that would be a good choice to select for here. And in business impact analysis is important. It helps us determine the type of system, its impact to the major operation in the case of disasters, of things that would happen. And so we would need to identify the resource that would be able to help us with recovering those systems. So you would need to download this template. And notice on the bottom, I put example for you here. So in this example, we're using a fast food restaurant. And it doesn't have to be an enterprise chain-based fast food restaurant. And fast food restaurant, its mission is to sell food to its customer. So we need to take a look at the mission and we need to identify the processes for that restaurant. So first, we would then identify the critical processes. Would be take customer order, process customer transaction, and of course fulfill the order, and also inventory products, manage employees, and so on. So there would be other type of processes that would be required for the major operation. The less critical processes, we can say maybe tracking staff hours, having account payable for their paycheck, and ordering supplies for the upcoming months, and so on. The critical system in fast food restaurant would be the order kiosk or sales terminal, point of sale system to take electronic payments. Possibly also if you're doing online sale, then you would look at the website that's being used for online sales, and then inventory for the database systems, server for authentication, and so on. So we want to identify the critical system that's essential to the business operation. Then the less critical system, like staff scheduling system. So we would look at the correlated system with the less critical process there. Okay, so we would then identify the less critical system with the less critical process. And then after that, we would then rank the system in the scale, and I normally use a scale of 1 through 5, right? 1 could be minimally impacting, and 5 could be severely impacting. And from then, we would identify the downtime objectives along with the downtime for, or the recovery to point objective and the downtime objective, so that way we would look at the resources for that. So now where do you find these forms? You can find them on a website like this. So NIST is used to get training, more guidelines for our security practices. And so when you work for a company that's associated with the federal government, you're required to use NIST documentation to complete assessment in various areas for information system. Now, for other companies that are privately owned, often that we would use NIST guidelines to be able to standardize the actual practice. So you can find something like this by searching on your search engine, or find it through the NIST website. And on the right hand side, you would be able to find the material and the template. You can download it from this. So if you wanted more on contingency on high impacting system template, moderate, low impacting. There are different format there. Okay, and they do revise this over time, so you can look at the revision and so on. Then what we would do next is we would use this template and we would fill out different areas of this template. So the first is to be able to put in our critical system. So you want to use one BIA for one type of system, or in some case, because some company they would do one BIA for a group of systems that are closely related. So you would see that. Okay. So what I did was on here, I filled out my type of ordering system, the date that I initiated and prepared this BIA. So I put in the date there. And you can first think about the critical system, and then you can select a critical system for the business. Then next, what we will do here is it gives you a little bit of information, the purpose of the BIA as we talked about. And so with this, what we want to do is we want to specify the type of system that we would, so it would be, food ordering system or sales kiosk, etc. Okay. So here with this document, we want to assess it for the food ordering system. And then in the next part, which is the system description, here I included a brief little section describing that system. So for example, I would say food ordering system interfaces with customers 12 hours daily. The users would utilize touchscreen to select food items and process payment. Food order system is connected to the network, order processing system, transaction database, inventory database, and so on. Okay. And then we can even say the type of operating system it uses. It uses, let's say, Windows 10 operating system or Linux operating system, etc. Okay. Since it's arbitrary, right, you can make up the rest of this, or if you have experience with a certain type of system in your work experience, you can also use that. Okay. And then we can also mention something about how the data is stored, right, for each transaction. So data is transferred to databases 30 seconds after each transaction is completed, and so on. Okay, so the more description that you would have on this is it's going to give you the overall understanding of what will be the resources and what will be the related systems to this particular type of system that we're looking at. Okay, so provide a brief paragraph on system description. Then we are going to go down and we are going to work on the table that would identify the process and the critical system. So first, we wanted to list the process. As you've seen in the example on the lab page, the assignment page, I put down obtaining customer food order, process, food order. Then we would have record transaction or payments, transaction, and so on. And for each one, we want to describe that process, right? So obtaining customer food order, that would use the food order kiosk to record the order and payments. Process food order, that would transfer order data to kitchen processing system. And then we can have record payment transaction that would transfer payment information to database, for example. So once we fill this out, you can add more to the table if you want. Then the next area, we're going to work on outages and estimated downtime. So here we want to give each level a point. And when you quantify this, it would be easier for you to assess down the line instead of using a label for the range. Okay, so severe, I give it a 5, moderate, I give it a 3, and minimal, I give it a 1. So with this, what we want is we want to put in the category of impact. Okay, so we would say that it would impact sales, right? If that system is down. So with the mission and the business, so here we wanted to list the business process. So obtain food order, and the impact for this would be sales, right? And the impact that could also be related to employee hours. It could relate to inventory. So we'd say inventory. It could relate to staffing hours. It could relate to profit and so on. So your impact category can then tie to other areas of the process. Okay. Now, then what we're going to do is we are going to rank in each of the categories. So if we obtain food order, we're definitely going to have a high impact on sales. So if we don't obtain food order, we are definitely going to have impact on sale. If we don't obtain food order, we're definitely going to have an impact on inventory. If we don't have food order, we are definitely going to have an impact, maybe of 4 on staffing. Okay. And then if we don't have food order, we would likely have an impact on profit, definitely a 5. So then what you would do is you would then get the average for this, or you can also total it and then rank the total. So if we total everything up, then we would have 19. Now, in the case if you wanted to find the average, you would add everything up, divide it by 4, and then you would have the point scale there. So you would put the point here. So I'm going to use an average. So 15, 19. So we are roughly going to be like right under 5. Okay. So then we look at processing payments. If we don't process payments, we're going to impact sales. If we don't process payment, will that impact the inventory, staffing, and profit? So again, you're going to go through and you're going to rank them, and then you're going to find the average or the total points. Then next, we are going to move over to the downtime. So here it talks about maximum tolerable downtime, your MTD, the recovery time objective, and the recovery point objective. So in the next area, what we're going to do is we are going to look at the process again, obtain food order, the maximum downtime for this, right? That we would tolerate the maximum downtime. Here, if you go back and you look at represents the total of downtime managers are willing to accept. So let's say that we have to shut down for 1 day. So that would be 12 hours if that's business operation, or 24 hours if we have our 24 hours business operation. The next column, we wanted to look at the recovery time objective. So if that system is, let's say that we tolerate it to be down for 24 hours, right before we take a huge loss, then what would happen is, then how long would it take for us to recover? So the RTO should be less than, as you notice, it's less than your maximum downtime. So we can say that this would be 12 hours. Okay. And then the recovery point objective, that would be the prior day, right? Or the prior hour. So you can put down 12 hours in the equivalent or less. So we would say 8 hours or prior backup. Okay. And you would go through, and again, you would list the business process, maximum downtime, recovery time objective, which is less than maximum downtime, and the recovery point objective. And you would keep doing that for all your business process. Then in the next area, we would look at system, resources, and components. So earlier, we talked about the food ordering system as an entirety. But with that, right, we would say sales terminal or kiosk, okay? And let's say that it runs Windows 10, and the description for this, you can explain what it does, right? Or we can say that used for recording food order, okay, on the main floor, and so on. And next we can say point of sale system. And the platform for this, it might have its own iOS. And the description would be used to process electronic payments. Okay, so we would continue to identify the system that would relate to our food ordering system, right? And so if there is more, we can add more to this. So for your business, what you wanted to do is to identify the servers, right? It could be database, it could be web server, it could be application server, it could be, it could be mobile devices, like for the people who track delivery and so on. So we can list the critical systems and its description and the platform or the version it's using. So that way we can quickly identify the resources for specific ones. Then in the next part, what we're going to do is we are going to specify, right? So sales kiosk, and this will be Windows 10. We would specify the recovery time objective. So earlier we put the overall recovery time objective. So here, coming back to this, right, the maximum downtime is 24 and the recovery time objective is 12 hours. So we want to relay that here. So 12 hours to rebuild or to repair or replace. Okay. And then we can say, these are the priority system now. So point of sales. And we can, iOS. And the recovery time objective, again, you would wanted to bring that down here. And we can say that, okay, well, that might be less. So we need it less. So let's say 8 hours to repair or replace. Or sometime even sooner, right? In my opinion, that would be needed to be sooner. So once you complete this, you saved it, and then you would then make sure that we fill out all the things that we need, and then you can upload it for the assignment. So in this template, we talked about how to use the template to build the business impact analysis. We would identify the critical processes, use that critical processes to relate that to the resources, which would be the systems, and then rank the system priority and the impact severity. Then we would look at the amount of downtime that we can tolerate, and we would be able to come up with a plan after we analyze the things that would impact our system. So this concludes my video for the assignment, which is BIA, and please watch my video for lecture and lab. Thank you for watching.